All right, let's jump right in. We're about to challenge a huge assumption most of us have about money, the idea that you have to have a high paying job to build some serious wealth. What if I told you the most powerful tool for building a fortune isn't a six-figure salary, but something anyone can get their hands on? So let's start with a big question. Think about it. Can someone working a regular, low wage job, say a janitor or a secretary, actually become a millionaire? Your first reaction is probably no way, right? But is that really true? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. They absolutely can. And you know what? They already have. This isn't some fairy tale, it's a reality. And it's all built on a surprisingly simple but incredibly powerful secret. And we're about to dive into exactly what that is. To really get how this is possible, you've got to look at the proof. We're going to dig into some real-world examples of people who built extraordinary fortunes from completely ordinary jobs. These are stories about true financial patience. I mean, just look at this. We're talking about real people here. There was a janitor in Vermont who quietly built an $8 million fortune, an ordinary secretary who ended up leaving behind more than $7 million. So how on earth did they do it? It wasn't a lottery ticket. It was a methodical, super simple, long-term strategy that, believe it or not, anyone can follow. So, what is this big secret? What's the engine behind these incredible stories? Well, it's a concept you've probably heard of, but maybe you've underestimated its power. It's called compounding, and it is the single most important ingredient for patiently building wealth. So, what exactly is it? Put simply, compounding is your money making babies, and then those babies grow up and make their own babies. It's a snowball effect. You start with a small snowball at the top of the hill. As it rolls, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and bigger and rolling faster and faster. And this chart shows that snowball effect perfectly. Take a look. After, say, 10 years, the growth is nice. It's fine, but it's not going to change your life. And this is the exact point where most people get bored and give up. But just look at what happens after 40 years. The growth isn't just bigger, it's absolutely explosive. Almost all the real wealth is created in those later years, when that tiny snowball has turned into a massive avalanche. Okay, so understanding compounding is one thing, but actually putting it to work for you, that's a whole other ballgame. Luckily, there's a clear blueprint, a plan that these patient architects of wealth followed. It isn't complicated, but it does require a very specific mindset. And here it is. It's a simple 4-step plan. Number 1, start as early as you possibly can. Time is your best friend here. 2, be consistent. Keep adding to it, even if it's just small amounts. 3, reinvest everything. Make sure all your earnings go right back into the pot to keep that snowball growing. And number 4, and honestly, this is the hardest part for most people, do nothing. Just resist that urge to mess with it. Let it work. This quote really just says it all. The key phrase here is without interference. That's the secret sauce. For these patient architects, wealth wasn't built on a series of brilliant, clever moves. It was built on a brilliant lack of moves. It's all about setting a good plan in motion and then having the discipline to get out of its way. And all of this brings us to the core lesson, the main idea of this whole explainer. The real thing that determines your wealth isn't the size of your paycheck. It's the strength of your financial habits. Just look at this comparison. On one side, you've got the high-status spender. They make a lot of money, sure, but they also spend a lot of it on fancy cars, expensive clothes, things that signal status. So there's not much left over to actually invest for the long run. And then you have our patient architect. Their income is way more modest, but their habits are rock solid. They're not focused on looking rich. They're focused on the slow, steady process of becoming rich. And it all boils down to this one powerful idea. It's not about what you earn. It's about what you manage to keep, and then what you grow. Your salary, that's just the starting line. The real magic happens with the money you save, invest, and just let it compound year after year, decade after decade. Okay, so we've seen the proof, we've walked through the strategy, but what does all of this actually mean for you right now? How can you apply this? Let's break it down into a clear path forward. So, here are the 4 big things to take away from this. First, your most powerful asset isn't a huge salary, it's time. The more time you have, the more powerful compounding becomes. Second, your habits are way more important than your job title. Third, being consistent even with small amounts of money is what builds that giant snowball over time. And finally, patience isn't just a nice quality to have, it's the actual catalyst. It's the spark that lights the fire of compounding.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. The stories we looked at today prove what's possible when ordinary people just decide to play the long game. They show that building real wealth isn't only for the high earners, it's for the patient architect. And that leaves just one final question for you. What will your patience build?